Okay, I'm so laughing right now. My video just shut off at the very end when I'm like a little angel. So I thought that was funny. Anyway, I hope you guys come here, keep going here for part two because I didn't even get to go. My computer shut off. And right now I don't have my editing board, so I can't fool around with things. It's like one shot, one take. And I don't want to do the whole first part over because I've done that before. And I never say the same thing twice. So let's keep going. I just want to say happy birthday to my dad. Um, I was sharing earlier that he did pass away in my first Saturn. Interestingly enough, my mother also shares the same Saturn I do, which means she had me when she was how old, guys? 30 years old. My mom and I are exactly 30 years apart. She's September 14th, I'm September 6th, and we've been very, very close. So I have really, really very powerful people in my life, very powerful. Family, all the way back generations, and I can't wait to keep talking about family stuff, family tree stuff. You guys are going to love the fun stuff you can do with that. So today I wanted to say that, you think you know someone, and I know my dad. I feel like I knew my dad. So that's just to know that I knew my dad and that I had the relationship I did, even if it only lasted 29 years. At this stage in my life, I realized that he gave me everything I needed. And that's why we have those Saturns, you guys. I know everybody fears Saturns, because we know that death can happen during that time. And if you guys are going right now through your Scorpio, Saturn and Scorpio, and you have that, you may have experienced a loss during this time. And it could be an immediate family member. I lost my dad, and my mother lost her husband. And this is kind of weird. When my mother was pregnant with me, okay, so get this. My mother was pregnant with me, and let's see. She was pregnant with me, and her brother died. And my dad's dad died. Okay, so my mother's first Saturn, she was pregnant with me, her brother, and, my dad's dad died, my grandfather. He died while she was 7 months pregnant with me. So when I had my first Saturn, I was pregnant, 7 months pregnant, and my dad died. So, I don't even know if there wasn't some other people in that. But right now, that's the one on my mind. And then my mom did lose her husband in her second Saturn. So, okay, so it's like, oh my gosh, we're talking about death, and don't talk about that, and I'm scared. But there's something about those pivotal 2.5 years that you're in that you're being prepared to handle heavy-duty things. It's giving you what you need to handle it, guys. Because it's going to happen to all of us. I mean, if you've gotten to 44, I've lost all my grandparents, my dad. I just have my mom and my two sisters left. It's just us four. And I tell them all the time, we need to stick together because we're the last of our family. So, all that being said, I looked at my dad's chart this morning and I thought, I just got to look again. I've looked at it a few times, but not real deep because it's kind of hard. It's kind of personal. It's kind of like when you're looking at someone's chart that you feel like you want to do it in a respectful, healthy way, and to understand them more, or and I looked and I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea, that my dad was a triple Gemini, Sun in Gemini, Moon in Gemini, Mercury in Gemini. Interestingly enough, though, I don't remember him being like a chatty talkie, but I do remember he was always going places. He's always going to see his mom. He's always going to the store. He's always going here. He's always going there. You got to go check this, go check that. He always has little jobs. And he was the jack of all trades. And he always had some little business, entrepreneurial thing, he wanted to get going. And he had Neptune and Virgo. Interesting. And he would come home with the big black truck, van, and say, I'm going to be a plumber now, and he'd go on and then he'd get bored or it wouldn't work out and he'd be on to something else. So I did see that there. His Venus was in Cancer. And that really, I don't know, that really touches me because now I know I had a lot of water signs. My sisters have a lot of water signs. And we connected to my dad. He had a real sensitive, deep heart. He really, really did. So, and then the last part would be that his Mars was in Taurus, so he was always very stable, and he, was a good provider, and he took care of the finances and, you know, tried to build a life. And he left, you know, my mother with a paid off home and at least okay, you know. He made sure that his family was okay, made sure that we were okay. And he was an Aries rising. And my son is an Aries rising. So also the fact that he was an Aries rising, talking about looking at your own chart compared to your family's chart, I have a Pisces rising. And even though there's a few changes in the houses, my dad and I actually have shared very similar experiences. Some things line up in some special spots. And it was interesting because I noticed that his 12th house was in Pisces. And I was like, wow. That's sometimes kind of, I don't know, that's always kind of like a ghostly house to have a Pisces in. I always feel like it's kind of dark. And he worked in the prison in his later years. He worked in prisons. That was his job. He always worked in security. And we know that Pisces in the 12th house sometimes can represent prisons and jails and different things. And my dad did get on the good side of that. He did pass away on February 21st, and he was buried on February 27th. So I thought it was kind of interesting that he did pass away in February with his 12th house in Pisces. I don't know if there's a correlation there. I really just don't know that. I kind of think there might be. And there might be a complete answer to that, and I'll be like, oh, I should have known that. But intuitively, I feel like there was something there. It was at the end of his life. And I think I've shared with you guys before, February 27th has been like this super prominent date in my life. My first husband was born February 27th, and now my husband now is February 27th. And all my best friends are like February 25th, February 27th, and that's really, you know, when I started to see it. I have all this Pisces, so I'm drawn. There's something about that date right across. And that also confirmed to me when I found out, you know, my dad passed away that week. That's a real significant week for me every year. And, you know, I had a great relationship with him, and he was an amazing man. He did go too early, but you guys, if you're suffering loss right now, I didn't plan on this being part of the message, but if you are, because people are going through their Saturns, if you're suffering loss right now, you're going to go through that grieving cycle. We all hear anger, all these things, and, you know, I went through all of them. But just trust me when I tell you that as time goes by, you will hear them and their words louder than you would have ever heard them while they were here on earth. Something about the energy that they leave behind and the power that they leave behind in your life, the words. Listen to what people say to you guys. Listen to their words, because it could be something very profound in them that will take you through the rest of your life. My dad instilled so many words. Gemini, Gemini, Gemini. So many words. And I'm just going to end on this note. I talked yesterday about, you know, where the planetary alignment is right now. Mercury's in Cancer, Venus is in Cancer, right? I'm very emotional today, but those are planets that help us remember things, you guys, and bring up sentiment and bring up the histories. And today I've just been so full of thinking about my dad. And then it dawned on me, well, of course, we've got this beautiful thread, ribbon, it's like a red ribbon thread of the moon and Mercury and in Venus right now. And that's a really cool thing. So, I don't know, just a lot of food for thoughts. Thanks for listening, you guys. I really just hope something that I'm saying, you know, can resonate and maybe help. And I've gotten a lot of positive messages that, you know, to keep going and that you guys like what I'm doing. So, I'm just laying it all out there, and I appreciate all your support. Happy birthday, Dad.